All right, Octavian, we're back, man. Game number 4. Simon Fraser University versus British Columbia, University of British Columbia, I should say. 2-1 in favor of Simon Fraser University. A lot of people didn't think I'd be saying that, but I am, because that's how the reality is. Simon Fraser University, a great job at turtling, bringing games to 55 minutes, where they apparently have a lot of practice because they just know how to play that part of the game.
And key point that I want to hit here, we do have a swap from the side of UBC. It looks like we're going to be seeing a change of jugglers as Kazahana is going to be joining us on the Rift. I'm assuming that's a swap, and we didn't just see a name change for no reason.
No. That is a swap for yeah, definitely to Kazahana, which you have to wonder how is that going to affect UBC's early game, who they relied on proof of payment for so much, and how is that going to affect Simon Fraser University, not knowing exactly how Kazahana plays. But we'll get to that in a moment because we have a Kha'Zix locked in. Finally, a really aggressive jungler, yeah, the assassin jungler on Frozen Knight. And not just, now I'm not talking about Grace, he is an aggressive jungler, but a Kha'Zix, very particular style jungler that I'm really keen on seeing this time around.
And already we're seeing changes because proof of payment is out of the picture, because proof of payment is a prolific Lee Sin player. The guy is a master of that specific champion, and so with him out of the picture, Lee Sin doesn't need to be banned anymore. So there's a little bit more flexibility in the bans, and some of that goes towards a Rek'Sai ban here instead of the Lee Sin, which then also allows Goldjet to pick up the Kha'Zix because the Graves is banned out against him instead. So a lot more flexibility in the jungle for Frozen Knight, and that's going to be quite a good thing, I think. Ezreal Karma is going to be picked up for the first 2 draft picks for UBC. I really like the Karma pick. JL has played nothing but Karma this entire draft. Getting him onto something he's less comfortable with, I think, is going to be a really big deal.
Yeah.
Potentially.
You know, I definitely agree with you on that one. We're going to see what JL plays. I mean, we've been seeing 7-3-4 fall back on the Nami, or go through Nami and Lulu, and then we're actually going to see that for JL falling back on the Nami as well. Now that the Karma is taken away, Goldjet going back onto the Nautilus. Nautilus just a mainstay in the in competitive gaming right now, or competitive League of Legends on the top lane right now. It covers everything you want with a massive engage and, of course, a massive meat shield that he offers in the front line. But on the other side, Osna going off that Lucian, this time going to the Ezreal.
And we're going to see what the next picks are. I think they're going to want to hide their mid lane pick here if they can. Demnus has been a huge point of strength for Simon Fraser. So if they can maybe just get the counter pick priority against him, that will be really great for UBC, especially with Vladimir still being on the table. So if they see him actually going to the Vladimir, maybe they can grab something that can be a bit more punishing in lane to that than the Jace was. And that seems like the plan. So yeah, they're going to grab a jungler and a top laner here. They're taking the discount top lane tank. You know, Nautilus is what you go for if you've got your pick of the litter. But if he's already taken away, it's like when you're on the playground and you're the last one to be picked. Maokai is the last tank on the playground.
Maokai discount. What is that?
He's a discount Nautilus at this point, really.
Yeah, no, he totally is.
It's kind of what he is. He's a little more reliable in his engage because he is point and click instead of having to land that skill shot. But he's so beaten out in terms of wave clear in the lane. Admittedly, it's not the worst lane to be countered in, though. You know, a counter pick in the mid lane can often lead to a snowballing carry. A counter pick in the bottom lane can do the same thing or even lead to turrets being taken earlier. But a counter pick in the top lane in a tank v tank matchup just means their tank is going to be a little tankier than your tank most of the time, unless there's something seriously horribly wrong there. So should be fine for CJ.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He does have the Kragas to back him up from the jungle on as Kazahana is going to be playing that jungler. So we were talking about changing it up a little bit. We did change up the bans, as you said. Lee Sin does not need to be banned now. That is proof of payments, one of his more notorious junglers, but this time Gragas. I would be surprised, you know, if this Shyvana is locked in, which, you know, more than likely won't be, but that might be a Gragas mid, which would be very interesting. But on the other side, for Simon Fraser, we actually do have the mid lane picked out, and that is the Orianna. So it does have a nice ball carrying system going on with the Nautilus and the Kha'Zix, but we do have Syndra locked in for KT Smurf this time around.
Yeah, and you pick Syndra into the Orianna. That's something that you've been doing all of season 7. Syndra is powerful in that matchup. Maybe not an absolute counter, but certainly does pretty well in it. And he's going to be pretty good considering how many members of the enemy team are squishy here. They've got that carry jungle. Really, only Gold Jet is going to be a bad target for Syndra to try and get a catch on. So Syndra pick incredibly powerful here and does decently well into the mid lane matchup. So saving that mid lane pick until the very end pays off somewhat for UBC.
Yeah, and we do have our team comps coming out here. Nautilus, Kha'Zix, Orianna, Caitlyn, and Nami for Simon Fraser University. And over on the side of British Columbia, Maokai, Gragas, Syndra, Ezreal, Karma, opting for 2 front linemen this time around. We're going to see how that pays off as we count down the spectator delay. Going to give a quick shout outs to our sponsors. Then, of course, Band Gaming, Twitch.tv, and Azus. Also, we are still hiring for a social media manager. Surprisingly, we haven't hired one within the last hour that I've been plugging this, but we're still hiring for one. So head over to cstarleague.com for more information. Send us your resume. Midwest Campus Clash still going on. April 8th is the finals at Columbia College, Missouri. Type !Clash in the chat. Check out all the info for the NWCC. Twitch Collegiate Community is a thing now. You can head over to twitch.tv/community/collegiate or follow them on Twitter at TwitchStudent, all one word. And just go check out and find the info section for streams, things like that. Keep up with your collegiate community. Help us grow. It's grown over the years so much, and I'm so glad to be a part of it, and I want to thank Twitch for contributing to that. And of course, Azus has also been contributing to that in their own way, well, mostly through sponsoring us. Thank you very much, Azus. And with that comes contests. So you can submit a video that showcases either A, your collegiate gaming club, or B, your awesome gameplay footage from one of your either yourself or your club's best player. You can email that video. It's the raw file, not a YouTube link. You email that over to admin@cstarleague.com with the subject title ROG submission. All caps in the space between ROG and submission, and have a chance to win one of their GL502 laptops. Pretty awesome equipment. Trust me, I haven't got to actually use one, but our graphics designers have, and they're very, very pretty. Anyways, my name is Joshua Quest, and I am here with Octavian. Game number 4, Simon Fraser leading 2-1 against University of British Columbia. Stick around, we're going to be on the Rift in just a moment.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, we are back. Game number 4, 2-1. Simon Fraser University versus University of British Columbia. Simon Fraser leading right now. Line of scrimmage being drawn by both teams. We haven't really seen aggressive starts this entire series, and that is going to stay. Well, I guess that trend is going to keep up as well. My name is Joshua Feck as Quest. I am here with Octavian, which may be the last game we cast together tonight.
That would be to some degree depressing, but also I'd be a little bit okay with it because it's nearly 1 in the morning.
Yeah, these games have been a clinic. I'm like surprised at how I'm not surprised that it's a good show, obviously, but man, just the degree that they are. I mean, it's the intensity of back and forth games going in number 2 and 3, and then SFU. I don't know, man. They got some patience, which is why I guess they're the professional team, professional collegiate team, and I'm nowhere near that as far as actual competitive gaming goes. But man, they got some patience, and they've pulled it out twice in both games being 50 minutes long. Let's see if they can do that again this time around, and maybe not 50 minutes, or maybe 60 minutes. Who knows? I don't even know at this point.
I hope it's a bit quicker than the last 2 games have been, but one way or another, I'm sure it's going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Award spots out Kazahana's jungle start there, and Kazahana really is going to be the wild card coming into this match. We have yet to see this guy perform in the series so far, subbed out for the previous jungler, and I'm sure still up to the same sort of par, though I was unaware there was going to be a sub today, so I have to admit to people that I haven't done as much research on this player, but I'm interested to learn what his tendencies are as well. And maybe going to be the piece of the puzzle that for SFU means they can hold on to their turrets a bit better in the early game, because that is something that I kept coming back to in Game 3, and which has been a sticking point across the whole series for them. Right. So if SFU can maintain better early turret control, I think they might not have to take this game to 50 minutes.
Right, it certainly is a bold move to sub out your jungler at this point in the game. But from my understanding, he didn't really get benched or anything. He's actually going to go eat dinner, if I read that right in the chat and according to Twitter. But it's still an extremely bold move to do that during the finals, the regional finals of the West. But they must have a lot of faith in Kazahana, so we're going to see how he progresses here. As he's clearing his blue buff right now, we see Frozen Knight actually in the top side of the river, taking out that Rift Scuttler at the moment. I'm really, really anxious to see Kazahana in action here, because he, like you said, the wild card. There's also the interesting point here because of that fact. Don't know what we're gonna see from him. Proof of Payment's very aggressive when aggression is warranted. And he delivers it very, very easily, especially within this laning phase. See if Kazahana's the same. He's going to be making his way down to the bot side, but might not have too much to gank here.
CJ going to continue to get shoved up here in the top side as well, as this is pretty much how this lane is expected to go, with Nautilus into the Maokai. A lot more area damage off the Nautilus, a lot more ability to just shove that wave up. Points we've hit over this series, really, but points that are still relevant because these teams keep coming back to the same picks, particularly down here in the bottom lane, where it seems like it's been the same grab bag of 4 or 5 champions the whole match. Lucian, Caitlyn, and Ezreal, and Karma, Nami, and Lulu. That about covers it. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, we have a flash off the back of a gank there from the side of Kazahana. You still with me, Fekis?
I am. My mute button loves me, though, so, I wanted to go in there. But yeah, it's a very nice aggression coming out from Kazahana. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Flash and the body slam, followed up by KT Smurf Scatter of the Week. Did get a flash and a barrier, actually, out of Dimness, so he is summonerless right now. And that's like I said, that's exactly what I wanted to see from Kazahana. So far, plays similar to Proof of Payment as far as those ganks go, but that's just one gank. Let's see how he turns out here. And see how he melds, I should say, with the UBC team.
And once again, pardon me, early focus on the Tracker's Knife from Kazahana, at least from both junglers there, as it's completed to Frozen Knight. I think one of the errors in the first game for Frozen Knight, not going the Tracker's Knife route, and now. This rest of the series, he has amended that, so kudos to him for that. And overall, the early game of the series is, this game, pardon me, is playing out similarly to the last few matches in the series, which, doesn't bode well for UBC. They've, I think, got to push hard in the early game because that seems to be their real point of strength. And they're not doing much with it at the moment. Admittedly, 6 minutes in, but time ticks on.
Yeah, ever so slightly it does, by the second actually. Sometimes by the 10th you want to get real down to level and we can go into quantum mechanics and talk about that, but that's another stream for another time.
Is it? Is that a stream for any time?
Yep, yeah.
Hey, are we going to talk about quantum mechanics on the CSL
I would love
stream?
to talk about quantum mechanics,
That would
bro.
be interesting.
I'm really
Certainly
into time
would be.
travel. But anyway, yeah. Well, we did see Kazahana actually scouting out the mid lane. Wasn't going to present an opportunity, or at least Dimnus was not going to present an opportunity for Kazahana to gank, so he decided to go back to his jungle, picking up the Krugs right now. Going to get as much XP as possible. Almost level 6, Kazahana is. You would think he would, especially in that mid lane with Dimnus not having a flash. Level 6 Kazahana on the Gragas would be very advantageous for UBC, and especially KT Smurf, considering he can throw that explosive cast just the right direction and put Dimnus in the midst of Smurf's unleashed power.
Yeah, Frozen Knight going to be finishing off his jungle clear on the bottom side here with the Krugs completed, and I'd actually be interested to see top side of the map after this next base. If he does choose to base, he's actually still roaming through the jungle here. They've got a lot of control topside because the Nautilus is going to be basically permanently shoved in. They've got that counter pick in that lane. Orianna seems to be doing well. Demnis, even if he's back in CS a bit, has the lane pushed up pretty consistently as Kazahana gets bubbled in the bottom side. And if they can just make some sort of play on the top side, in terms of an invade or something, Frozen Knight will have a lot of backup. But doesn't seem to be the priority here for Simon Fraser.
At the moment, they just want to be safe, establish this vision, make sure they don't get ganked by Kazahana, and just farm up, because I mean, they've established they can just farm until 50 minutes, they can win the game, so they're just going to try to at least make it through this laning phase. It's like you said, they've ever so slightly been correcting themselves, and the laning phase was one of the things that they did correct, or at least do a little bit better last game. And they have dynamite minion control, and we'll give them that, but we'll see if they can fix those other little things and keep them just away from, powering through the mid game as they want. I think these 50-minute games are not ideal for any team. They want to be able to do better on that and not have to drag it to 50 minutes just to win. I would love to just do it at 35 and see if they can do that this time around. Close this West finale out here. Of course, UBC, they would love to hear Silver Scrapes on that stream, which, by the way, I will play that if it goes to game number 5.
That's a promise you got to keep now. You can't break that one.
I would not. I would never. I won't ever.
Twitch chat will be all over you. But another lane that we haven't really touched on too much, aside from to say that it's been pretty samey across the whole series, is down here in the bottom side. Thank you, Directed Camera, for just a second even. As Osna and 734 have actually done a surprisingly good job of keeping this lane shoved up and keeping even or ahead in CS. In the Ezreal going into a Caitlyn matchup, that's usually to no degree favored to the Ezreal. And Nami versus Karma is pretty much equivalent between these two. So to see Osna be able to keep this lane shoved, to be able to work around that discrepancy, even with a tier start, as that was his first item of choice on his first pack, has been really impressive to me. And maybe one of the reasons why SFU consistently loses that first brick. They don't play a very aggressive bottom lane very often.
So far, no, it's it's been very aggressive for UBC on the bottom, but again, that was with proof of payment. And we can't stress this enough. Kazahana, he is a wild card. He has a different style, and now UBC, the other 4 remaining members, they have to accommodate that. They can't just adapt him into their mold flawlessly. Again, that's not taken away from Kazahana. He's, I mean, obviously he's on UBC's A team here. He's obviously a fantastic player. We actually, like I said, wasn't really expecting to see him this time around. Don't know his stats, whereas where he's at in life as far as solo queue goes. So we'll just have to assume that
Alright.
he is the best choice for UBC at the moment. UBC AL establishing some vision control around their top side, the tri brush there. As it looks like Demnis maybe going down, pops that barrier, is going to be fine. Kazahana, shockwave being thrown onto him, and a teleport from Goldjet, who actually cancels. And that's pretty big for UBC. That's a teleport down for Simon Fraser.
And UBC already put a lot of emphasis on early dragon control, early bottom side control, so they could very well go for a dragon, maybe just off that TP is down, and there's no barrier in Demnis. Like, that could be enough to push them into a dragon, because they've still got all their cooldowns, aside from Syndra ulti. And it is, honestly, the fact that it's a Cloud Drake makes me think maybe that's a bit less likely, because it's not really one worth putting that much risk and value into. But that's the sort of play that they've definitely been thinking about, I imagine, and Simon Fraser have to be wary of.
No, that is definite. And Simon, like we've been talking about it a little bit here. I mean, Simon Fraser. I'm sorry.
Is Kha'Zix soloing dragon right now?
He is right now, and he is sneaky, because they do not know that on the side of UBC. They have no vision there, and it looks like he is going to be assisted by JL. It's the Cloud Drake. It's not the worst to lose, but again, with these, we've seen 2 games go 50 minutes. These Cloud Drakes are going to be very pivotal whenever you get the Elder Drake, and it gives you true damage, which makes the value of a Cloud Drake go way up. So, first Drake of the game, 12 minutes, going over to Simon Fraser.
And that's such just a clever play from Simon Fraser as well. A really, really, honestly, cocky play to some degree, but clever nonetheless, because they burn the TP. There's a real opening for the enemy team to perhaps take a dragon attempt, and they decide, screw it, they can't attempt dragon if dragon isn't on the map.
Oh yeah, that's pretty it. But we do have a gank in the bot lane. Kazahana going underneath the turret. Pneumatic is actually going to go down as well. First blood going over to KT Smurf. Double kill actually, as he takes out JL as well. CJ taking advantage of that teleport advantage, but it is answered back. Frozen Knight leaps in, picks up CJ. That was after a shockwave from Demnis after you roam down. Too little, too late. Damage done. Smurf gets a double kill, but it is 1 over to Frozen Knight's Kha'Zix now.
Yeah, and that's honestly not that bad, because in the end, they had already taken dragon. It's a 1-for-2 trade, but dragon goes over to them. Like, most of the time, if that happens, if there's a fight near the dragon pit, it's 1-for-2 and one team gets dragon, you say the team that got dragon won, and that's basically what happened, just over the course of like a minute instead of 10 seconds. So really, really solid early gameplay from Simon Fraser, which is the first time this series I can say that. There's still good aggressive dive from UBC, but they're getting aggressed on themselves.
I would say, speaking of aggression, yeah, Simon Fraser doing a great job again keeping themselves in this early game, taking out Kazahana in his own jungle. Now it looks like Demnis, actually CJ, he's there. KT Smurf, he doesn't have unleashed power right now. Of course, he can always scatter the weak, but CJ needs to be careful here. Demnis has no mana to really go on the offensive here, so CJ feels very comfortable. But Frozen Knight and Goldjet are in the vicinity as well. But once again, damage done. SFU, they did take out Kazahana. And take his, I don't know, they didn't even take his red buff. It was actually run off by CJ and company. So they still picked up a kill, and now it's even completely, except for that dragon.
Yeah, gold evened up as well between these two teams, and even early games lead to long victories for SFU. It's happened twice in a row. Third time is the charm, and more dives in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Pneumatic has to use his heal to get out of this one, but it's not going to be enough. Smurf able to pick right through all of that. 734 helping out with that as well. Ozna barely making it alive, had to use his heal, but he does live, gets himself another assist on the board.
And maybe they'll be able to shove in and take this first turret, but Kha'Zix and Nami are both triangulating on this position. They're going to prevent that happening. And the answer to every problem this game so far from UBC has been dive the bottom lane. They've gotten their kills, but they haven't been able to make anything else happen because of it, which is in stark contrast to game number 1, if we cast our minds way back to the beginning of this series, where their dives bottom lane ended with invades in the enemy jungle, ended with perfect games. And that speaks to how much Simon Fraser has learned in this series, and that is a super valuable skill.
I want to point out that game number 1 was literally yesterday at this point, and
yes,
you have to go all the way back there. Yeah, Simon Fraser doing so much better now, but UBC, they're still getting their kills on the bot side. But yeah, it's so topsy-turvy because Simon Fraser, they do take out those objectives, so while you're getting their kills, which are still good, and they're going on to KT Smurf, and that I think is what they're going to rely on. Going to need to rely on for this massive amount of damage coming in, because you have a 2-tank front line right now and a support who is not an offensive support. Ozna and KT Smurf, they're the damage dealers, and so far looking good for them.
I think that's a crucial point to hit. Yeah, the fact that Smurf is the one who's gotten all 3 of these kills so far. And Syndra's mid-game power spike can be pretty deadly with a few kills. Good trades by Pneumatic. Yeah, really good trades by Pneumatic. Ozna going to take a big chunk on the way out. But basically, the game now for Simon Fraser becomes play around the Syndra, which ironically was the game back in game number 2 for UBC. So they've got to just play as a team, take maybe some lessons from what UBC did that game, play as a team, stay grouped together, don't let Syndra catch you, and whenever there's a team fight, press Nautilus ult on her.
Yeah, essentially, I mean,
it's eerily similar to game 2.
Yeah. We'll see if it turns out like game number 2, though. We'll know how that one ended. Kazahana hanging out on the bot side. He's not going to be able to pick up anything here, though. It's too far shoved. Even with explosive cast, even with flash and body slam, they do not feel confident going in on that one. Although he's actually gonna persist. I take that back. They do know the dragon is coming up in 40 seconds, so he wants to pressure this bot lane and translate those kills into objectives this time around. He's not going to find the opportunity. He's going to go back and base, pick up a little bit of something else. He has 1100 in his pocket right now, so he's going to pick up something. Well, I was going to say that. There he goes. He's going back now. He's going to pick up something and come back stronger for this dragon. Yeah,
good plan. They have the ability to play really powerfully around this dragon now. They're not in a position where I think Kha'Zix is going to be able to jump over the wall and steal it again. It seems rather unlikely. They're going to be a little more heads up to that play. And they've got the 3-0 Syndra, so definitely they want to pick a fight now. I think Simon Fraser could be fine giving that dragon away. That would be the absolute worst case, because if they just don't pick a fight, then eventually they'll be able to move as a unit and avoid the Syndra threat. Alternatively, if they can get decent vision control to cut Smurf off or cut Ozna off on the way to the fight, then as you said, they've only got this 2-carry composition. If one of them is out of the picture, that's an easy team fight for them.
Yeah, very much so. And that's something they have to prioritize in their head. They have to have been talking about that already. As I say that,
like
dragon is going to be started. This is the Ocean Drake. Nice positioning, bringing that dragon around the corner. But Frozen Knight, he actually went back to base, gave up his dragon. That's a real important dragon to give up, too. I'm not really sure on that one.
I mean, yeah, as I said, I kind of anticipated that. There's no reason to take the risk of fighting the 3-0 Syndra when she's most powerful right now, especially when you don't really have a lot of tools yourself. The Caitlyn isn't going to be hitting a power spike for a little while. She's actually going to start falling off. So it's probably best that they give that dragon up, because they're going to be able to scale into the later game nonetheless. And if they can just get to the point where they're able to move as a unit, where we're into team fighting and they can rotate around the map a little more, they can neutralize the Syndra that way.
And we're talking about that. Syndra has got to be the priority target. But it's going to be so hard getting through a Maokai and a Gragas, not to mention you do have Karma there to keep him alive as well. And Frozen Knight, he's only found one gank attempt so far, and it paid off for him, but he hasn't found anything else. He's trying more on the bot side now, trying to match Kazahana's aggression now that the wave for Simon Fraser University is actually pushed against UBC. Maybe looking for a turret dive here, but this might be a little risky. Let's see if they can pick this one up here.
UBC looking to dive.
Yeah, UBC on the top side diving Gold Jet. And if he can get out of this, that would actually be very impressive, but he does get out of it. And Ozna and 734, they're actually going to stay safe for the moment as well. But that is going to be the first turret of the game going down in favor of University of British Columbia.
As it always seems to.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is not the first time I've said that. And it's retaliated by Dimness in the mid lane. taking down the mid lane turret as Smurf went up top to help out with that turret. And now the bot lane, Pneumatic.
Yeah.
Pneumatic and Fraser going to pick up that bot lane turret. So 2 turrets to 1 in favor of Simon Fraser.
And that's a great adaptation, actually. If you can't quite get first brick gold, just take 2 bricks instead.
That's easy.
You get more money that way.
You
2 bricks, sort of like 2 chains is always better. You want more chains, you want more bricks. It's pretty simple math. 2 bigger than 1. Still though, great by Simon Fraser, and I kept emphasizing in the last match that if Simon Fraser can just shore up their turret game in the early game, then they're not going to be even on gold anymore. They're going to be ahead, and they're not even going to have the one weakness that's been plaguing them this whole time, which has been the early game map control, because they've lost turrets. And they just did that. They took a 2-for-1 turret trade, and it doesn't look like it's going to be answered back anytime soon. When you look across the board, there's nobody in a position to shove up another turret and equalize that. So Simon Fraser have been learning the moves to this dance so much more quickly than UBC have.
And it's almost like UBC, I mean, obviously, every team always has something to learn, but UBC have been on top of the mountain in their respective region for quite a while. They haven't really been challenged like this. And again, I want to mention, Simon Fraser, this is the first time that they've lost in the series, but it's also the first time that UBC have lost. In fact, if this were a best of 3 in the semifinals, UBC would be out at this point. So that is something really hard to, something that should require a lot more emphasis and thought, because UBC, they haven't really had to adapt. I mean, just being world champions and everything 2 times in a row. Simon Fraser, I mean, yeah, again, they've been a great team throughout the years, but you know, they've lost before. This time, it's UBC's turn to adapt, and you can tell they're getting or I should say, having a little bit of trouble doing so.
Yeah, it could be the rust setting in after so long, not having to play against teams that can really hold up. But Simon Fraser now proving again they're a team that can hold up. They did it with UCI with the very top of the ladder, so definitely a team to be taken seriously by any measure. And now Baron potentially on the table as these teams vie for control near the pit.
That was a nice void spike coming out from Frozen Knight. That actually slowed down the momentum that 734 gave with her shields, or with his shields. That was a nice. I don't know how intentional it was to actually do that at that appropriate time. I think he actually left this shot the spikes out before the shield went out, as there's travel time with the spikes and not the shield. But yeah, that was a really interesting mechanic. Completely stopped the momentum of UBC and engaging onto Frozen Knight and trying to catch him. Speaking of catching him, he's gonna root him. Not much else is gonna happen though.
Not a lot of damage here to kill a Maokai with on the bottom side either.
No, not at all.
They've got Caitlyn coming in. Maybe they can just look through the turret shove, or maybe the kill on the Maokai.
Maokai doesn't have any armor besides that 1 cloth armor, so Pneumatic can do quite a bit of damage to him at this moment. But mission accomplished. They got the CJ did clear the wave. And that is the most important part to keep this turret from sieging.
Well, a lot of the reason for that fight may have to do with just wanting to get control of the bottom side, because this dragon will be spawning again in about 30 seconds. And it's going to be a Mountain Drake, so pretty important to grab that one. Don't want to give another one away. And yeah, they've successfully navigated that few minutes in the mid-game where Syndra was at her most dangerous. Another kill has yet to go down. And now they can just sort of move as a unit, move as a team, and really play around the fact that all 3 kills have been stacked onto this one laner here.
Yeah, very
good action.
Oh, there's a shockwave. No one hits 734 on CJ. Doesn't have too much power behind him. Dimness is going to be caught very reused, but 734 picking up that kill. And now Frozen Knight getting all the burst combo from the submerged Syndra, I should say, onto him. But he does survive the altercation. May have to give up this Mountain Drake.
And the one moment where they're not moving as a team is when they get caught out. Admittedly, that was quite a forced engage from British Columbia, but you've got to expect that with a team that has a Karma and a Maokai and is incredibly willing to flash forward out of Orianna ultis. So UBC definitely aware of what they have to do to win this game, and trying to make that happen. Not as smooth, not as textbook as we've seen them in the past, but still a top team, so let's not count them out yet.
No, not at all. It's only 25 minutes in right now, and yeah, I mean, we've seen this before. 25 minutes in, the gold gap is not very big at the moment, and it's, I don't even care how many turrets you're taking, how many dragons taking. It's really anybody's game. I'm gonna say that no matter what time it is, until it gets to like 45 to 50 minutes, then I'm gonna say it's SFU's game all the way around. But until that moment happens in 20 minutes, this is really anybody's game still, and quite literally right now, because it's only a 1.6 gold gap, and if the series has taught me anything, that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Still, the turret lead over to SFU, though, is pretty solid for them, if only because it's something they haven't had the luxury of working with in previous matches in this series. And it looks like we're going to be going into a slight pause. Our traditional connectivity issues for one of the players here, as hopefully we'll be resolving them very quickly. They have also traditionally resolved quickly, so hopefully we'll be back into the game shortly. Gives us a moment to take stock of this match, though, which could very well be the last match of the night for, well, everybody, but also specifically for UBC if they don't manage to clinch a victory here.
Yeah, desperation has got to be setting in for them. And again, having to bring in Kazahana, I mean, that has just got to slightly tilt you, but I mean, it was after game number 3. UBC may have come into this series thinking, we'll just 3-0 them, it's no problem. And it's been a problem for them. But so far, Kazahana, he's not shown any sort of baggage or anything. He's been quite cohesive with his team. Hasn't had any problem whatsoever. And we'll see how that really turns out during these big team fights that come up. Because that's when team cohesion really sets in, really is needed. He doesn't. Yep. He didn't quite get as many ganks as he liked, except for on that bot side, but it really amounted to too much, because like you said, not much to take after that.
And you know, I also got to say that I do like UBC's draft if this game does go late again, because they've not drafted as greedily as they have in some previous games, and they've gone for a more traditional style, a team that can really scale into the end game a little bit better with consistent damage out of Azrael, good burst out of Syndra, and a great front line. The only problem is they are that duo threat comp, and they're facing off against something of a triple threat comp with the Kazakhs. They're a little bit beefier. But we've got the team fight starting off potentially.
We do have, there's a teleport coming in from CJ after the tidal wave, but not really much to teleport to anymore as everyone decided to back off. Smurf did use both of his summoners, so he's a little bit more vulnerable coming into this next team fight. CJ does not have a teleport now. Advantage over to Simon Fraser as far as teleports go. Both teams just going to back off. UBC going to defend this inner mid turret, and Simon Fraser going to try to shove it here, but looks like both teams are just going to kind of take a view of the rift and go all their separate ways.
And honestly, this looks like the 40-minute mark in the last game. Like, I feel like we just went from last game, played a little bit of an early game just, you know, to get the formalities out of the way, and now we're just back into last game again.
UBC trying to bully their way into this mid lane turret. Frozen Knight, he gets ulted by Kazahana into the enemy team, but he leaps right out. Bubbles not being able to land, and every time you step on a Caitlyn trap, she's going to chunk the piss out of you. And I think KT Smurf found that out the hard way, just to peck off there.
And the reason why you saw UBC try to pick a fight there is because Demnis had to go top lane to shove out a wave. But it does mean that there is a minion wave shoving up now onto that outer turret, which may yet fall to minions, which is something of a pattern across these last few games. And yeah, especially with Caitlyn rotating up there now, that's going to go down. And that's even more of a turret lead over to Simon Fraser. A real reversal from what we've seen.
Yeah, they've even got even better at their early game, and this is actually their mid game now. So, like you said, they've been correcting everything ever so slightly, and their mid game was the one they needed to control the most. And so far, so good. We'll see if they really need to bring this to a 45-minute mark, but it is approaching the 30-minute mark. The next dragon will be up in 1 minute and 50 seconds. May see some priority set around that side, as this will be the last elemental Drake on the map before the Elder spawns. And let's not forget, Baron is also up. It could be taken at any moment. But Vision is on both sides, or in the Baron for both sides.
Yeah. The main worry I have for Simon Fraser going forward is they've seemed to have a tough time this game picking some fights. They've not actually had very much success in picking fights ever. The success that they've had have come off of rotating a bit better on the map, and so they've managed to take down these outer turrets just by being in the right place at the right time. But every time they've gone for a full-on team fight, it's not really been disastrous, but it's kind of fizzled out.
All right, Frozen Knight, he was not caught. He's fine. Didn't even use his flash, just leaped out. He's fine. No problem.
Meanwhile, Nautilus... Oh, no, he's basing.
Oh, that was a shockwave on the CJ. I'm not really sure about that one, but that did clear the minion wave, so that did keep the mid turret up. Dimness, he is out of mana. He has to go back, spin some of that spoil. Try to be
There's going to be a really big slow push on bottom lane right now, because Nautilus did just shove that in. Yeah, this is, again, UBC potentially committing to a fight while minions are against them.
Jet's tanky, but he can still be caught in this early going. It's never mind, he's extremely tanky. He had a large shield there. Now it looks like UBC may be getting caught here. Ozna facing the hold coming out, but it's going to be blocked. Now Goldjet going back in. Nice three-man bubble, and that is not a shockwave, but a dissonance. Still a lot of damage. 7-3-4 and Ozna both go down. Double kill for Frozen Knight. And a triple kill. No, sorry. Dimness actually picking up that kill. CJ by himself. He's just absorbing every shot from Pneumatic until he dies. And now KT Smurf, the only one left alive. That was a 4-for-0 in favor of Simon Fraser University.
And they even had a favorable push in the bottom lane going at the same time. So there's some damage on that outer turret now as well. Everything going well for them, as this will be an easy Baron to claim. And Simon Fraser have just been steadily improving over the course of this best of 5, and UBC have pretty much stayed stock still where they were when they started, so they're getting overtaken at this point. Simon Fraser are looking very clean.
It's... I feel like I'm growing with them. This has just been beautiful to watch them get destroyed in game number 1. Come back in game number 2, get destroyed, and then bring it out to a game, to a 45-minute game, and then game number 3, not quite get destroyed, but it's still a 50-minute game. And then we're at game number 4, and they're shining. They're doing great. They have a Baron at 32 minutes, and now they are going to press the advantage onto UBC. They're going to be grouping in the mid lane, I believe. Here looks like there are some pings coming out. See where they go. A lot of vision dedicated to that top side, but that was for the Baron, and it's not up anymore.
And this is almost the absolute best performance you can give as a team. Better than winning like a 2-0 best of 3 or a 1-0 best of 1 or something, is being clearly outmatched in game 1 by a team, but learning enough, adapting enough, as a team evolving enough to then come back and have this sort of performance just a few games later. Shows that there's more than just mechanical skill involved with these players. There's real synergy. There's real value just in the squad as a whole in this particular set of 5 players, And that is what I love to see as a caster. That's what I love to see as part of the amateur scene, to sort of follow the growth of these teams, follow the growth of these players. And Collegiate League is a great place for that. But after waxing poetic, let's get back to the game. There was another turret taken for Simon Fraser, who still have only given up 1, and are now rotating towards the mid lane.
And yeah, let's keep that in mind too. They have 2 Cloud Drakes right now, which Cloud Drakes, like I said, they do stack up. 2 of them, 50 out of combat movement speed. They can get around this map very quickly once they take a turret and get into the jungle. As long as they're not contested, they can get to that mid lane extremely quick. And we're seeing that in play right now. They can stack up another Cloud Drake. That's actually going to be a pretty huge advantage for them with the way they're taking these turrets. And the top lane actually has quite a bit in their favor. Being shoved as well, and that's Smurf having to go up there and clear it. And that means that Simon Fraser University, they're going to try to engage here. CJ is getting his damage reduced, or damage taken down quite a bit. His health bar, I should say. He finally, no, he's actually going to stay alive for a little bit longer. But Frozen Knight, he goes down, but that's a double kill for Dimness. And they finish this off, 7-3-4. He's almost going to go down. Who's going to pick it up? It's going to be Jail. JL, I should say. That was support on support action there, and now the 2 damage dealers are left for UBC, but they have no frontline left.
And the reason that Simon Fraser were able to take that fight so confidently is it was a 4v5. And the reason it was a 4v5, they had great wave control in the top lane. You saw that Smurf came to that fight late because he had to go up top to answer the minions. They had good wave control in the bottom lane as well. That's why they're able to catch a wave here after that fight and take a second inhibitor. Simon Fraser are playing the map so much better. The minions in particular, so much better than UBC has been in these last 2 games in particular, and it is paying off huge now. They're looking just fine and dandy to 3-1 this to take the whole series and to be our finalists.
And you have to give props. I'm going to actually give a shout out to Simon Fraser University's analyst, Butt Raider. I don't know his real name. It just goes by Butt Raider. But man,
that's a great coach name.
It's a fantastic coach name. I'm not sure what he's, how he's training these guys or what they're saying in between games, but it is working phenomenally. And Simon Fraser University, it's a story that we've been talking about. They've been getting better and better and better every game, and the trend has stayed. This game number 4, it's the best yet, the best version. This is their Super Saiyan version, and they are taking it to UBC. They now have 2 inhibitors taken. The Elder Drake is going to be up in a minute 50. They've taken the Baron. I would be surprised if they were able to give away this Elder Drake as well. Elder Dragon, sorry.
And this is a kind of a desperate gambit here from UBC as they're waiting for somebody to maybe walk by alone, as they know that Simon Fraser are going to be coming to the top lane. It's the last lane to shove out. It's the only logical place for them to be. But even getting a pick there, even if they say catch Frozen Knight or somebody turning the wrong corner and they kill them, in the end they've still got 2 inhibitors down. They've still got an outer turret they can't defend, and that's the best case scenario for them. It doesn't look like there's any way back into this match.
No, this is a castle crumbling before our eyes. UBC, they cannot retaliate against this. The most they can do is hope to pull a Simon Fraser University and try to bring this to a 50-minute game and win with a turtle, but CJ, he's going in deep, and he had no backup. Smurf actually got chunked out so hard. He still has his ultimate and was not able to use it in fear of death, so they're just going to brute force this top lane turret. A mini wave is finally there. That's going to lower its defenses, and now it goes down. It's going to be the 3rd inhibitor going down, and meanwhile, Super Minions made their way into the base. That's one of the Nexus turrets going down. All 3 inhibitors are down. The only objective left for Simon Fraser to take is this last Nexus turret, and they have a Super Minion wave on the way. We're going to see what they can do. Flash by CJ. He's going to try to go in. Desperation move. The Gold Jet is their big front line. They cannot do anything about Gold Jet right now. Frozen Knight, he is staying safe. Pneumatic staying healthy as well. CJ, he finally goes down. That is going to be the last Nexus turret going down, and I think we're going to have our West final team here. This is going to be Simon Fraser. There it is. Simon Fraser University are your West Regional champions. Congratulations to them. 3-1 against University of British Columbia.
My God, that was such a clean game. Such a clean game. Every structure down. They didn't give up they gave up 1 turret, pardon me.
Yep.
And Simon Fraser turned this series on its head. That was amazing. Very, very well done. They certainly deserve the final spot.
Very much so. And that is going to be it for us, Octavian. That was an incredible series going into a game number 4. Wasn't expecting it to be that I mean, I was always hope for a competitive game, but man, that was an extremely competitive game. 2 50-minute games. We'll say 45 minutes for the game number 2, but why not? 50 minutes. 2 very long games, and then that third game that third win, I should say, for Simon Fraser University. Man, they drank their special juice in the intermission. They came back strong. But man, we got to give some shout outs though. Band Gaming, a social app, and the primary social app for the CSL. We hope that it's yours as well, because they got boards, calendar functions, polls, chat, call functionality, pretty much everything you really need to create an organization and keep them together and communicative. And speaking of communicating, you can communicate with us and the CSL community at band.us/@CStarLeague. And of course, Twitch, you're watching the ULoL Campus series on Twitch. You just watched an incredible series on Twitch. So thank you very much for helping us out with that one, Twitch. Last but not least, Asus. They are back with us for the 2016-2017 season. They introduced me to VR, and I am forever grateful because I was a skeptic. Now I'm not. I love VR. But that's not all Asus helps out with. Monitors, laptops, routers, graphics cards, so you can play VR on your personal computer. Go check them out. They're amazing. Asus ROG. Gonna give some plugs. We're still hiring a social media manager. Head over to cstarleague.com for more information on that. Great way to get your start into esports. Midwest Campus Clash is going on. Type !Clash if you want more information on that in the chat. Twitch Collegiate Community is a thing now as well. Go follow them on Twitter at Twitch Student, all one word, or go to twitch.tv/community/collegiate, and you can go check out some of the what's happening on the collegiate streams of Twitch. And the Asus contest is also happening as well. You can make a video of some of your best plays, showcasing, well, it's actually two ways. You can showcase your collegiate gaming club or some awesome plays of yourself or your club's best players. Send that email video over to admin@cstarleague.com and send us the actual video file and not the YouTube link with the subject title ROG submission, so we can pinpoint that and enter you in a chance to win a GL502 laptop from Asus ROG. Very nice. Republic of Gamers, very nice nice equipment there. And last but not least, obviously follow us on social media, facebook.com/cstarleague, YouTube/cstarleague, Twitter @cstarleague. You can follow me at Fekes, my name, Fekes, Pheqes. Where can we follow you, Octavian?
At Octavian Zilch, if you'd like.
I would like to. I'm going to go follow you right now.
You? Oh, man. You weren't before?
I actually am. I'm always going to follow you. There are actually other finals. So we're in the finals week right now. And if the games are going to be like this one, I am excited for the finals coming up. Tomorrow, the North Finals, probably one of the most hyped finals, not only on social media, but even on CSL media as in regards to how the teams are reacting to each other. That is the North Finals tomorrow. That is technically Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Robert Morris University versus Maryville University. So go check that one out for sure. And right after that, again, Saturday, this time at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that is subject to change if those games go on very long between Robert Morris University and Maryville. Immediately after that will be the South Finals, North Carolina State University versus Texas A&M. That's at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or longer, again, depending on how the first set of games go. And then on Monday will be the last final that we have. That's the East Final. That's Toronto versus Carnegie Mellon. And that's at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And actually, I'll be casting that one, so definitely go check that one out. But all the games are going to be incredible no matter what. I can't guarantee they'll be as incredible as this series, but they'll still be pretty good bouts. And I'm very excited to see them. Thank you for joining us tonight. Once again, my name is Joshua Fekes Quest. I'm here with Octavian. Have a good night. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Good night, everybody.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.